Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend.
Yeah, my name is Jasnity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today I can't take it, so I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Right? Here. Sir. So here. I got you all back. I just feel spoiler. I know that, huh? Seriously? Somebody got to carry fight.
Don't change the thing, will you?
Look at who's here.
You alright?
Right there with you. You don't know it. Oh, contour toes in like, let us see.
Nung em. Ông hiểu. Nung em.
And you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption
people fed up. Most Guyanese are fed up. Regardless of how you twist it, how you turn it, most Guyanese are fed up. Aren't you guys fed up? If you are fed up, I know Tom is fed up. Tom is fed up talking about the same thing over and over and over and over again. Good night to all of you. I'm not going to run through the roster. You know who you are. And if we don't call your names, do not get upset. Do not get upset. Somebody starting off, some Holly. And I really don't like, responding to people when they just basically know photographs, you don't know. And so Holy Amour says, let the Guyanese go out and defend their rights like the people in other countries do. Fair enough. I don't know who Holly is, Amour. No photograph, nothing. But I like this fighting spirit of an individual who we just don't know is saying, go out and fight. Go out and fight. Holly, are you ready to fight? Are you ready to take to the streets? And when we talking fighting, we talking about a political struggle, mind you, right? All right, then they get Astute Wolf is saying good evening to Tom Anderson. Where are these folks find these names from, man? Astute Wolf. Tom. Astute Wolf. Tom, Astute Wolf is saying good night to you. And let us say good night and welcome Tom Anderson. Tom, good night.
Fellow wolf, my fellow wolf. Good night, Astute Wolf. Good night. Good night.
We got lots of things to talk about. Christopher Chichester, all right, say delete when they come around. Delete when they come around. Rosa Fong saying James Bond not fair. We're not here. Look, right now, Bond is insignificant. Doesn't carry a lot of political weight, withered away like dry grass. And basically is out to hustle. Money got make. People got to catch themselves back. That's what it is. But even with the Bond issue, like I said, it's just like a little mosquito, right, on an umbrella, right? And so we got a hold of some of the people. The umbrella party is over. It's just a hustle thing, guys. It's a hustle. So you hold on to something as long as it's a hustle. It's a hustle. But this is what's happening with the folks at Congress Place right now. When you ask them, one particular lady, I got in touch with her. She's originally from Melanie. The people of Melanie are going full out against the PPP. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And so this lady, when asked about what she thinks about Bond and his so-called endorsement, a so-called little fly, a little mosquito, sorry, right? And so this is how she responded to the so-called Bond giving Irfan a second term in the ICU. But this is what she did, Tom. This is what she did when Bond's name was mentioned. How do you feel about that so-called wishy-washy endorsement? Miss Margaret, are you with us? Can you tell us how you feel, ma'am? Go right ahead. Patch her through, operator. Let's go straight to Congress Place. How do you feel, ma'am? Okay, so let's start off with a little bit of smile here. People are happy. People are just happy that the snakes are coming out. People are happy, Tom, that the snakes are coming out. Let's go there. Somebody call the popo. Bye-bye, Bond boy. Hey, bye-bye. Done with. Next. Let's move on. Next, Let's move on. Tom, a lot of things happening in Guyana, my friend. You're probably saying, oh my gosh, but we have a lot of issues over here too. Trump just got officially convicted, was sentenced, but basically nothing really, just a brush on the shoulder. And then we have a wanted bulletin, $25 million. Tom, I know you have a history of hunting down wanted people, right? I'm almost certain that this is of interest to you. What is your take on this, Tom? Let's begin with U.S. increases reward for capture of Venezuelan strongman. He's no longer president. Strongman Nicolas Maduro to $25 million. Your take, sir?
Well, it's still not enough money. They should be putting up more than that. But that is a lot. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not enough. They need to put up more. And, at the end of the day, this thing, the way it's going to become pretty chaotic if you look at it. If you look at what's happening in Venezuela, if you look at what's happening in the region, there's a lot of chaos. And I don't see the Trump administration bringing any type of organization to the region, any type of peace and harmony. Trump is just going to increase the chaos even more. So the 25 million is there. They're probably going to bump it up a little bit more if they really want this guy captured. But at the end of the day, is he going to be captured? I don't know. I think this might end up being one of those things where the people of Venezuela might have to make a choice and kind of depose of this guy.
And I think that is where it's leading to, because maybe some of his military officers might be so enticed that they want to turn him over for that $25 million. This is not good for Maduro at all.
Oh, no, he's in trouble. And he's increasingly angry. He's increasingly cut off from the world. He's just an angry man there in Venezuela, and he's holding on to power through sheer force and violence. And how long can that go? I don't know how much longer that can go, but I do know this. His neighbors are Guyana, and you guys need to look out, man, because this guy in his desperation, and a cornered animal is a very dangerous animal, let me tell you.
Exactly. And that's exactly what's happening here, though. Guyana people have to stay awake. And those crooks in Guyana, in the PPP, they have to wake up. Let me say this, and I say crooks because we have dealt with this before, where Jagdeo wants, and probably still, he wants to work along with Maduro so that they can share a piece of Guyana. This is what Jagdeo said.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
A slight concession. Here's a man who wants to make, Jagdeo that is, he wants to make a slight concession with Venezuela, with Maduro, and so forth. Maduro is now a wanted man. But even though he is wanted, let me say to our listeners, if you know the whereabouts of Maduro, please make direct contact with me right here on 107.1 FM. I promise to share a little with you guys of the $25 million. Or contact Tom directly. Tom, how dangerous it is, again, I know you mentioned earlier that he is a cornered cat, but this is a man not so long ago, maybe 72 hours ago, said that a governor will be, someone will be running for governor of Essequibo. That is all part of Guyana. Again, what is your take on all of these latest developments?
No, he's definitely trying to move in on Guyana land, and he's using that as a way to hold on to his power. And I can see why that's the case, because if you look at the Guyanese government, you've got people like Jagdeo in charge. And, Jagdeo's more interested in, trying to boost up certain races above others. He's more interested in cutting deals with foreign countries like the Iranians and really way out there crazy, violent people. He's trying to do that stuff. So that's why, you can see him talking about back in the day, Guyana giving Maduro a little lane in the ocean, any little thing to make Maduro happy, right? Because For Jagdeo, his group of friends are all of the crazy dictators in the world who are enemies to the West, enemies to America. That's where he fits in. So yeah, this is one of those things where when you have someone like Jagdeo in power next door, and you're Maduro, and that guy has a soft spot for you, and that guy's going to do whatever it takes to back you up, you're going to get bold. And since he's desperate on top of that, I could see Venezuela going after Essequibo. I could see it. And I could see Jagdeo sitting there not knowing what to say. He'll blame everyone else, but it really will lay on his feet because he's the guy who has set the standard. He's the guy who has partnered up with all of the crazy dictators around the world. He's the guy who wants to be friends with psycho killers. So yeah, Maduro's going to go ahead and take that piece of land, and he's going to expect Jagdeo to sit back and support him doing it. Of course.
Tom, you wouldn't be surprised though if military officers in Venezuela move in to overthrow. We're just speaking here in general. Military officers within the next few days move in to overthrow, or we hear that there's a coup in Venezuela, and after that coup is to hand over power to the man who the Venezuelan folks and other folks claim have won the elections. You wouldn't be surprised if there's a coup in Venezuela.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, but you have to remember too. So there's this $25 million reward, but what Maduro's offering to the higher ups underneath him in Venezuela is Essequibo, is most of Guyana, and that's worth way more than 25 million. So that's the issue here,
are
right?
they going to take that risk to do something like that is currently in front of the international court?
Oh yeah, they will, because you have Trump as president, and Trump really doesn't care, right? All Trump cares about is the resources. If he can get at those resources, if he can cut deals with the Venezuelans who steal the land, he's fine with that. Look at Trump talking now. He wants to steal Canada. He wants to steal Greenland. He wants to steal Panama. Trump is all about theft of land and theft of resources, right? And so if Trump is out here talking publicly about stealing other people's lands, and then you have this guy down here, Maduro, stealing land from Guyana, what's Trump going to say? He's going to celebrate it. He's going to be all up in it. So that's the danger here that I don't think people realize, is that Trump is a supporter of people who go in and snatch other people's property. That's what this man does. That's what he has a history of supporting. That's what the future is going to be in this world with Trump as president.
Tom, I think you're onto something. And somebody said earlier that Greenland and so forth is what Putin has had his eyes on for a while. How beneficial is this for Putin that Trump wants to go after Greenland? He wants to take away the Panama Canal. It seems as though a lot of members of Congress agree with the possibility of retaking the Panama Canal. But outside of that, how reckless or how dangerous it is to even talk about taking Canada away and making it an extra state of the United States. Of course, the 1812. Many folks who read the history would understand 1812 and what happened in that 3 year of war with the British and Canada.
That's the issue. The issue is, if you really look at it, is that the EU and Europe, they are faltering. They are falling apart. They are looking really shaky, right? They can barely defend Ukraine, okay, barely. And without the United States, there's nothing these guys can really do, right? And so we're sitting in a world right now where you have these European nations that are responsible for all these lands all over the world that they obtained through colonialism and everything else over the centuries. And they're in a position now where they can't hold on to that land. They don't have the power to hold on to Greenland. If some other country comes and takes Greenland, guess what? No one in the EU can stop it. The Brits can't do anything. So the bottom line is, a lot of people are looking at this situation right now, including Trump, and they're saying, wait a minute, there's no one here to defend all of these lands. It's free open. Anyone can take it. And that's where Trump is at. And that's where all of his people are at. They want to go in as bandits and steal as much as possible over the next 4 years, period, end of story. And so when you look at a guy like Maduro is right in line with that. So anyone in the world who wants to steal land and take by force something from someone else, that is going to be celebrated by the Trump people. They want that because that gives them more excuses to go and steal their own stuff.
Let me, Maduro, and I noticed Brenda Casey, and good night, Miss Casey. Brenda Casey is saying that, and this is the first time in history of Tom being on this show, that Brenda Casey is disagreeing with you. Brenda Casey is saying, I disagree with you, Tom. Trump wants to get rid of Maduro. While Brenda Casey is disagreeing with you, I am disagreeing with Brenda to some extent because, and I'll explain, Trump is a friend of Putin. Putin is a friend and supporter of Maduro. Talk to Brenda Casey and others who may think that Trump wants to really get rid of Maduro. What is going to play out come January 20th?
Yeah, so there's no such thing as, well, let's look at it this way. Maduro, for when it comes to Trump, he doesn't have any friends in South America, period. He doesn't have any. And so this idea that, oh, he's opposed to Maduro, why? Well, who's going to replace Maduro? A friend of Trump? No, he doesn't have any. So the issue there is that, yeah, he may not like Maduro, and yeah, Trump might have Marco Rubio in as Secretary of State or whatever, and these guys might talk a good game against Maduro, but here's the reality. These same people spoke against Fidel Castro and the Castro regime, and guess what they did through policy? All they did was cement the Castro hold on Cuba. So publicly they were claiming, oh, we hate Castro, but all of their policies did nothing but benefit Castro and keep him in power for decades. So that's the same situation with Maduro, where you have Trump and his people saying, oh, we don't like Maduro. But the reality is all of their policies not only keep a man like that in place, but they empower Maduro to allow him to go and steal other people's lands. And I'm going to say it again. Trump is more about stealing land than he is about worrying about who's controlling what. At the end of the day, if Trump can go in and he can steal some himself, that's what he's going to do. And a guy like Maduro benefits Trump in that way. So ultimately, at the end of the day, there's rhetoric and there's things these guys say, but their actual actions and policies always benefit the dictator. It always benefits the thief. That's what they do, and that's how they roll. And that's just the bottom line.
Always benefit the thieves. Do you think Trump would mind if Maduro makes a move to Essequibo?
He would enjoy it. He would love it. He's a man.
Some folks out there, Tom, not to cut you, might be asking a question. Why you think so? Why would it?
Because Trump loves chaos. Because within chaos, he can make profits. Because within chaos, he can usurp authority and he can take over control. It makes him look good when things are chaotic. Because at the end of the day, if everything is making sense and everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, then what's his job? There's nothing he can really do. He's best when everything is being burned to the ground and being stolen and innocent people are getting beat over the head. That's Trump's world. So yes, if Maduro is going to beat people over the head and steal lands, that's very good for Trump. And I'll give you a perfect example. Trump loves Putin. What does Putin do? Putin is focused on stealing. That's what he does, no matter where it's at. If it's in Africa, stealing. If it's in Europe, stealing. Wherever he goes, theft.
Do you think, fair enough, do you think Trump is going to want to challenge Putin? Putin has been after Greenland. Putin is a good friend. They have been supporting that dictator in Venezuela, Maduro. They have sent warships. In fact, I think another warship was on its way toward Venezuela, passed through secretly over somewhere there in the Bahamas, I heard today. Of course, in the coming days, there will be probably more warships sent to Venezuela to help Maduro. What do you think will be Trump's next move, knowing that Maduro gets the support of Trump's friend, Putin? One phone call can say, leave Putin there in office. Again, which side really is Trump on? Is he on the side of the opposition, wanting to put the opposition leader of Venezuela in office, or for Maduro to remain? Here's how you have to look at it. It's not really about the names or the characters, right?
What it's about is how do these people play the game? If they are the type, if the person is the type of person that will do whatever it takes to take whatever they want, Trump loves that person. Period. It doesn't matter what they're after, it doesn't matter what they do. If they're out there in the world and they're beating innocent people over the head and they're stealing property from people that doesn't belong to them, Trump is your friend. He's friends of those people. That's where he's in line. So that's all you need to know. That's why if you look at North Korea, that's why he loves Kim Jong-un. That's why he loves President Xi in China. I know people say, no, he talks bad about China. If you look close, okay, Trump loves Xi. He invited Xi to his inauguration. He speaks glowingly of President Xi in China. Why? Because Trump says with his own mouth, he's a powerful man. He's a strong man. He makes everyone underneath him listen. When he speaks, everyone jumps to attention and does whatever is told to them. That's what Trump wants across the board. So if you look at Maduro, that's the type of man Maduro is. He's the type of man that when he speaks, he demands people move, and that's all Trump cares about. So that's why Trump will be okay with Maduro. As long as Maduro continues to stay strong and he continues to steal lands and he continues to run around beating people over the head, Trump will be good with him. And that's all you really need to know.
So this whole thing here is about land and oil reserve. And Venezuela has the largest oil reserve, I believe. And then they have the kind of oil, the kind of crude oil that is badly on the wanted list, so to speak. How important is Venezuela's oil as opposed to democracy for people like Trump? Do you think they care about democracy in Venezuela or the oil? Do you think they care about democracy in Guyana or the oil?
See, I don't think Trump cares about the oil or democracy or anything. I'm telling you, from what he cares about is he wants to see a world where the strongest win every time. And that's it. For him, that's how the world needs to be. And so when he looks across the globe, when he sees someone who he thinks is weak, someone who's talking about democracy or helping out the poor or making things fair, he hates that. He doesn't want that. He is opposed to that. What he wants to see are people like President Xi in China who will do whatever it takes to get whatever they want. And whether it's using nukes, whatever they need to do, that's what Trump likes. And that's what he partners with every single time. So that's what you have to be looking at here. It's not about the resources. It's not about the names of the people. What it's about is the actions of the people who are in charge or the people who are trying to be in charge. And those who have strength and those who have no qualms with killing any number of people, those are the people that Trump is going to be okay with. And that's just the bottom line.
So some people might be saying it seems the type of person Jack Dio is in Guyana. He doesn't believe in democracy. Under his regime, hundreds of persons were slaughtered. He doesn't believe in free and fair elections. He just talks the talk. Do you really think, though, that Trump and his administration, they're going to get along with the current regime in Guyana? They're going to like Jack Dio?
They are. That's why you can tell the PPP feel a little bit confident about Trump, because they know, right? If they become outlandish, if they become abusive to the people, if they do things that create problems, Trump likes that. And so for them, they're sitting there like, oh, if we truly become bad and we really do bad things, then we'll have support of Trump. That's what they're angling for, and that's the future of Guyana. I hate to say it, but that's what's coming here. For the next 4 years, everyone needs to realize that in your countries, if your nations are going to be good with Donald Trump, the only way that your nation will be good with Donald Trump is if your government abuses you. That's it. Now, if your government is respecting the people and treating you good, you will have a problem with Trump. I'm telling you now. But if your government abuses the people, steals from the people, is corrupt, is out there creating war and havoc, Trump will be good with you, and those leaders will have a very good time with Trump as president in the United States. That's the reality.
Tom Anderson, our guest this evening, talking about the reality over In countries, we find individuals who are said to be corrupt, individuals who are said to be on wanted list of U.S. law enforcement agencies, individuals who are have been sanctioned for money laundering, gold smuggling, assassinations, meddling in terrorism affairs, and all manner of things. These are the type of people or types of people around the world who are emboldened to put themselves up as political candidates because they see in the United States, for the first time in history, a man with 34 felony convictions. He has been convicted, and it's emboldening people now around in countries like Guyana and other places to say, regardless of their 19 fraud charges, regardless of being on a U.S. wanted list or wanted by U.S. law enforcement agencies, they can run for office. Tom, how dangerous is that for democracy, sir?
I mean, democracy doesn't matter anymore. That's just the reality. People need to wake up. Democracy is dead in this world because Donald Trump is president. That's what the American people voted for. They voted to kill democracy. And that's the bottom line. So we're going to spend the next 4 years with no democracy, with people all over the world, dictators abusing their own people, with theft like you've never seen before, with destruction of environment, with countries going to war. It's going to be on and on and on because that is the world Donald Trump wants to see. And he's in a position where he can make that happen. And that's what's going to happen. And that's what he was elected to do. And that's just the bottom line.
Interesting. Tom Anderson, again, 4 minutes after 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's Friday, the 10th day of January, 10 more days before Trump is sworn in as President of the United States of America for a second term. Here is the next question, though. Elon Musk is flirting and doing a lot of flirting with Guyana. What is your take on Elon Musk flirting with Guyana? He had a Zoom meeting with Irfan Ali, and we're hearing in the news now that he's flirting. He has his eyes on Guyana. Can you explain why is it that a billionaire like Elon Musk, who's now flexing his muscle, has an interest in Guyana?
Guyana has immense natural resources, okay? Not just oil. We're talking about rare earth metals, lithium, gold, you name it, Guyana has it. And that's what Elon Musk is after, are the resources, period, end of story. He's after them here in America. He's after them all over the planet. And he doesn't want any kind of government regulations in the way to environmental protections and all. No. He's here to steal it all, to pollute the land, for the people to die. It doesn't really matter. He wants every ounce of whatever there is in Guyana, and he's going after it. And there's nothing anyone can really do about it because he's going to have the U.S. government backing him. And that's just what's coming your way.
Interesting. And so he wants the wealth, he wants the natural resources, but not only that, he wants power. All across, we find that he is attempting to flex his muscle. And if he sees a way in Guyana that he can flex his muscle and basically take control of whoever is in the PPP in office there, he will do just that. But how dangerous is this guy to democracy, Elon Musk?
Democracy doesn't, I'm going to say it again. Democracy is dead in this world. It doesn't exist anymore. People need to come to that realization. I'm sorry to break it to everybody. I have been saying on this show for so long. That's why before the election, I said, hey, people need to vote for Kamala Harris. I wasn't saying it because I'm a Kamala Harris supporter. I was saying it because I knew if Trump won, democracy in this world is over. It is done. Period. End of story. And so the situation you have in Guyana, and I have said this over and over again on your show, and I've told the people of Guyana, you better organize. You better get smart. You better get together and start getting smart about this. Why? Because what you have right now is the PPP, who these guys, they're not sophisticated enough to be able to lead the nation of Guyana and protect the nation of Guyana. They cannot. So what's going to happen is guys like Elon Musk are going to come in and they're going to take your country over and they're going to steal everything from you, impoverish you, and there's going to be nothing you can do about it because the PPP cannot stand up to him. They are not strong enough. They're not smart enough. So that's what's coming the way of Guyana. I have warned everyone about this over and over again. But unfortunately, when you speak words, no one believes it. People have to see it with their own eyes. So everyone will see what happens, and what's going to happen will be a great tragedy, and many people will die, and many people will be hurt, and many people will be raped, and many people will be robbed, and many people will be bloodied. But that's what was voted for in America, and that is what is coming to everybody. And that's just what's going to happen. I'm sorry to break it to everyone, but that's what's coming, and there's no stopping it. So with that said, you have to get smart. You have to organize. You have to figure out that, wait a minute, these PPP guys, they might seem smart in Guyana, but they're not that smart when it comes to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world wants what Guyana has been blessed with. So if the nation of Guyana, if the people in Guyana continue to vote for the PPP and keep them in charge, it's guaranteed that the world is going to take everything from you. That's just the reality of the situation. I'm sorry to break it to everyone, but that's where we're at. It's serious. This is real stuff. There is no longer any democracy in this world, and that's where we are.
That's just where we are. 9 minutes after 9 o'clock in Eastern Standard Time. Tom Anderson with us. Tom, a few months ago, Irfan Ali in Guyana had a meeting with Elon Musk and Richard Griffiths of SpaceX. There are folks out there who are of the view that there were some secret deals, and that Elon Musk has promised Irfan Ali to have him, by every and any means necessary, win the elections. And again, this is dangerous for democracy. Elon Musk is flexing his muscles. Some people are of the view that he is more a supporter of the apartheid regime coming from South Africa. People are concerned, very, very concerned with how Elon Musk is attempting to flex his muscle at all. And you are correct, Tom. Those folks in Guyana, the Irfan Ali and Jack Deere, they're not smart enough to understand what is happening. But if they can sell Guyana out, they will go right ahead and sell the country out, just as Jack Deere promised to give away a piece of Guyana to Essequibo.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
That's a guy talking about making a slight concession. Tom, January 20th, Donald Trump will be back in office. 34 felony convictions. How much of a vengeance he would want to take against his political opponents? We have seen signs and the markings on the wall, so to speak. He's just going to be in there and be as ruthless as possible. I don't know. Does that make you nervous? As somebody who has lived in America practically or all of your life, does it make you nervous? Does it make the people where you live nervous? Does it make the people who look like you, look like us, regardless of their ethnicity, well, except of a few, does it make them nervous that come January 20th, America will be in the hands of a man named Donald Trump?
No, not at all. See, we were built for this, okay? I was raised for this. I grew up in the world in America, down in South Florida in the 80s, of pure chaos, pure corruption, where the police were actually cooking up the drugs that were being sold on the streets. So they would cook them up at the police station, go out, sell them on the street, keep the money, and then jail the people using the drugs they were cooking. That's what I grew up around. So with that said, I know what corruption is. I've seen it my entire life. I've had to live with that. I've had to suffer at the hands of corrupt police and corrupt government who go in there and destroy your life, who spy on you, who do everything under the sun to destroy you. I've been living this. All of us with black skin in America, we have all been living this. We have known this all the days of our lives, most of us. So this chaos that's coming, the people is really going to affect. And this is the funny part. all of these white Americans that's who's supporting Trump. But what they don't realize is all he's going to bring to America and to the world is what minorities in America have been suffering from day one here. He's just spreading it to everybody else. And so we know how to live in a world of chaos. We know how to live in a world where the government isn't there to support you. It's actually there to hurt you. We know that. So this is actually the type of world that we can thrive in and we can do well in. And that's why I continue to tell the people of Guyana every time I come on, you have to organize. The things that I'm saying it because I've already seen what's coming and I know it's coming. And I'm telling you, there are ways to deal with it. But the number one way to deal with it is on a community level. You have to reconnect with the people in your communities. You have to communicate. You have to organize. There is strength in numbers, period, in the story. And that's what this world is going to be going forward, is to strengthen numbers. That's the only way to defend yourself. And you have to be willing and ready to understand that, hey, there are no more rules here. Okay? There aren't any rules. Whatever rules you thought were in place, you better think twice. More than likely, it's a scam job. And so you'll be walking in thinking, if I play by the rules, I'll get a certain result. No longer. That doesn't happen anymore. Okay? And it barely happened before. So that's what we're heading into. I'm not afraid of it. I've been living in it my entire life. I'm good. As a matter of fact, I think I will thrive in such a crazy world because that's all I've ever known. Now, for people who have lived it up and have had everything dropped on their lap and have had every advantage in life, and even when they make mistakes, they get promoted and they never get in trouble, those people are going to have a hard time coming up here, a very hard time. But those of us who are used to living under tyranny, under a government that abuses you, we've seen this, we've done that. We're actually experts at this. We know more about that than Trump does. So that's where I see the strength in what we can do as people, not just here in the United States, but in Guyana. But what it's going to take is people to be honest, to be open. It's going to take communication. It's going to take organizing. And it's all about strength and numbers, period, end of story. So that's where I see it. And I'm actually very excited, to tell you the truth.
We're all very excited. Some people are not so excited, especially on the immigration front. Trump, incoming administration, Trump's administration appears to be on the path of ruthless approach as it appears to what their plans are for immigration. Some unconstitutional measures, some rather measures that will be questionable in the eyes of the courts and so forth. What have you been hearing on the immigration front, and what have you been picking up from this vociferous so-called border czar?
Yeah, that's chaos, pure chaos. Okay, they keep talking about the mass deportations. Not gonna happen, man. Elon Musk stood up to these guys and said, hey, we're bringing in a whole bunch of Indian guys, a whole boatload of them. We're going to load America up with as many Indian people as you could imagine. And all the Trump people go, oh, you can't do that. And guess what Trump said? I agree with Elon. We're going to bring in all kinds of people. So this idea that immigration is going to be some doomsday thing, nah. This is turning out to be a situation where what they're going to try to do is go after people who are black. I'm just telling you, that's what's going to happen. And when they try to do that, it's not going to work, because we live in a world now where so many people are black that it's a problem. And so, yeah, trying to weed out the black people from the white people who are illegal, from the Indians, from the Asians, it's impossible, man. Not going to happen. So what we're going to see is pure bedlam chaos here. We're going to see a lot of people who are criminals get thrown out of this country, but for the most part, they're not going to mess with most people who are here illegally. And unfortunately, they're probably not going to fix the immigration issue. So for the next 4 years, I don't see a situation where America is going to be more open to a system where you can get visas in Guyana and come here to do business. You won't get that, but What you won't have are mass deportations of Guyanese people out of America into the United States, out of America into Guyana. That's not going to happen. I've already seen reports. The newspapers around the country here are reporting and showing, like in the state of Texas, there are more than half of the construction workers in the state of Texas are illegal immigrants. More than half. Okay, this is a lot of people. If they were to eliminate all of the illegal construction workers in Texas and replace them with the unemployed residents of Texas, there aren't enough unemployed residents in Texas to fill all of the jobs that would open up if they got rid of the construction workers who are here illegally. So what would happen essentially is mass deportations would literally destroy the economy of Texas, of the entire state. The entire state's economy would collapse from mass deportations. People are realizing this. People understand this. People know this. So there's this rhetoric out there that's saying one thing, but reality says another. And in the world we're going to be living in the next 4 years, reality is king. I don't care what anybody says to you. Reality is king. And we can go back to the thing with Maduro. Trump can say all he wants that he doesn't like Maduro, but the reality is Maduro is the type of leader that Trump gets along with. So Maduro has a good chance of doing well with the Trump administration because reality hits and reality says that guy's a dictator. He will do anything to have power. And those kind of people Trump likes. And that's just the way it goes.
All right, Tom Anderson. Tom, let's touch on the U.S. Supreme Court. Majority of the justices are conservative justices. Lots of people, including yours truly, I believe that the recent ruling as to whether the judge can go ahead with the sentencing of Donald Trump, which took place earlier today, I thought, and scores of other folks thought, that the U.S. Supreme Court would have ruled in favor of Trump not being convicted or sentenced. Sorry. We got a shock, Tom. Donald Trump can be sentenced Friday, that's earlier this morning, in hush money case. Supreme Court says in a 5-4 ruling. Were you surprised at today's the court's ruling, yesterday? And what does this tell you about future rulings of the court when it comes to Trump, what Trump's want? He believes that he controls the court. What is your take?
Well, it's really simple. What happened with the Supreme Court, I believe. The Supreme Court has always stood on this one reality, okay? And that's this, that most political issues need to be dealt with at the ballot box through elections. The Supreme Court does not want to get involved with anything that political in any way, shape, or form. And so when you're bringing something like this case with Trump to the court, what happened is the judge in New York said already, hey, man, I'm not going to actually throw this guy in jail. I'm going to sentence him, but it's not going to be real. He's not going to actually get a punishment. What that said to the Supreme Court was, hey, as a judge here in New York, I'm not going to affect the governing of America. That is going to stay in the hands of the people through the ballot box when the judge said that. And so once he said, I'm not going to actually affect the governing of America, the Supreme Court had to stand down. They had to rule in favor of letting this sentencing happen because they stand on one reality, and that is they believe that judges are not allowed to get in the way of governing of this nation, period, end of story. That's what they believe. And that's what they've always lived upon. That's a thing with the Supreme Court that's been there forever. So yeah, that's why that happened.
Four of the conservative judges said, no, he should not. The sentencing should not be a thing of the day. It should not happen. 4 of them said that. Of course, your good friend Clarence Thomas being one of them. We are not surprised of Clarence Thomas's position at all. That's how he's going to be making his decision for the entire Trump's term in favor of Trump. He would never go against Trump. But 4 of them said no.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Of course. I mean, that's how the court is now. I mean, just so you know, these guys, they talk to each other and these rulings come out. They know what it's going to be and they negotiate it all out. So the four who voted for Trump, those guys, they did that on purpose because that's the stance they want to take politically. But at the end of the day, they don't have a problem with it being 5-4 because, like I said, it didn't violate that one rule that the court has always stood on, which is they don't believe in getting in the way of governing the nation. They don't believe the court should ever be in a position where they can step in and choose who the leader of the nation is going to be, or choose.
Al Gore, they stepped in and they made a choice.
No, but that's the thing. No one was in office at that time. There was nobody in office. And in this case, because Biden,
Bill Clinton was still in office.
He was, but in this case, because Biden is stepping away and Trump just won the election clearly and was certified by it, they're not going to get in the way of that. Now, when it came to Al Gore, he was never certified as president. It never happened, right? And so that's what I'm saying. They're not going to get in the way of an elected official. If somebody's been elected and they've been certified in office, I'm telling you now, the court isn't going to make a decision to pluck that person out of office or hamper their ability to govern. They're not going to do it. That's how they've always ruled. That's what they always do. And it's always going to be that way, because if you think about it, if the Supreme Court steps in and they start choosing who gets to be leader and who doesn't, well, now the Supreme Court is who decides who's president and who isn't. You see, that's why they did this, because they saw that since the judge said, I'm not going to get in the way of this and I'm not going to stop Trump from being president or doing what he needs to do, that's what gave the court the green light to go 5-4 and allow the sentencing to occur. That's the only reason why it happened.
Some folks might disagree and say back in 2000, when the Supreme Court stepped in and stopped the counting, many folks still believe that Al Gore would have come out ahead and be sworn in as the president of the United States of America, but the Supreme Court of the U.S. stepped in and stopped that from happening. People are still holding some of those justices.
But with that though, Mark, no matter what happened, the Supreme Court was going to end up deciding that.
Sure.
Because if they went the other way and decided Al Gore, they decided Al Gore. You see what I'm saying? They were put in a position where they had to make a choice on that election, right? So no matter which way they went, they were going to be the ones to make the choice, because the system went all the way down to that point. And that's okay for the court. What they don't want to do is get in the way of an election that has been confirmed and that everyone knows was won by a certain person. And then the court comes in and says, oh, no, we're going to make sure you go to jail. They're not going to do that, man. They're not ever going to do that. And so that's why when the judge said, nah, he's not going to go to jail, we're not actually going to punish him on anything. It's just a sentencing. It's a formality to end this case, but we're not actually going to get in the way of him governing. That's what allowed the Supreme Court to go 5-4 and say, go ahead and sentence him.
What do you think if it was a situation in reverse, it was Barack Obama? Do you think the Supreme Court would have still held on to their 5-4?
If the judge would have said, we're not going to sentence him or anything, yeah, I think they still would have been 5-4. I think if the judge would have said, no, I'm going to throw this guy in jail, it wouldn't have been 5-4 for sentencing. At that point,
even if it was Barack Obama?
No matter who it is, if the judge said, I'm going to throw this person who just got elected in jail so that they can't serve as president, the court would have voted against that. The court would have ensured that that person would never get sentenced. I'm just telling you. Yeah. And it's because if they don't do that, see, here's the thing. The court has to have a place in society. If they leave their spot and go to another spot, guess what happens? They give up their spot. And so they're no longer a court anymore. So in order to hold on to their power and to keep their position in our society, that's why they went the way they went. And that's why they don't stand against elections. Because as soon as the court starts standing against, starts saying, hey, this person was elected, but we're going to reverse that. That destroys the country. And they know that. And that's why it doesn't matter who it would have been. They were going to go this way regardless.
All right. Tom Anderson here. Tom, as we prepare to probably say goodbye for now until cozy kind of relationship, smiling, same. Trump and Barack there, according to people who are custom reading lips, said that they asked to meet. Trump asked to meet with him, but this is not the spot. You're not surprised at this sort of cozy relationship now between him and Barack?
No, not at all, because it's not cozy. But these, you have to understand, okay? So both Trump and Obama, anyone who's the president of the United States, they got to that position through war, political war, and the kind of political war that goes all the way to the bone, okay, where families' lives are threatened, your life is threatened. It's serious. It's such a serious position that psychologically, I think these guys are a little bit broken, to say the truth. Okay. And so with that said, they are trained when they're in a pressure situation to smile. That's what they do. The higher the pressure and the more the angst there is and the more negativity there is, the bigger smile they're going to have. Period. So that's what you're seeing there, is you're seeing two broken men. I'm just going to tell you, they are broken. Two broken men, and they're broken because to get the kind of power that the presidency holds, to attain that power, to get to that place, you have to break yourself as a human being. There's no other way to get that kind of power. And so you got two broken men here who are at war with each other, who hate each other, but also are trained to know that in the most heated situations, they give you the biggest smile you could ever see in the world. And that's what you're seeing there.
Tom Anderson, thank you. As we prepare to say goodbye for the night, and your closing remarks, Guyana, back to Guyana. This is a matter that you commented on. A young man, the court awarded him 24 million Guyana dollars. The PPP regime, Jack Deo and Air Finale stepped in. Their government stepped in and said, no. They're not going to award. They're not going to allow this to happen. They're going to appeal the decision. In fact, they stopped. They basically said no. They are going to appeal. About 2 weeks after now, they realize after the pressure, this is what they're saying. Now, state appealing $22 million, well, $24 million judgment. They appealed it. They knew what they were doing, but because of public pressure, this is what they're saying as of yesterday. Air Finale halts state's appeal against 24 million. In other words, they're saying now, no. Pay the money. You're not surprised that they have turned around on this issue?
I'm not surprised, because stuff like this makes them look like thugs. It makes them look petty. It makes them look like third world dictators. Okay, period.
But they
And
are.
so, but that's what. But they don't want to look that way. And so, the stuff like this makes them look like that. All right. And so, once they realized, oh, the people in the PPP who kiss our butt and tell us all that everything we do is great and we're perfect, as soon as they left that bubble and heard from other people and they realized, oh man, we look bad. Yeah, they turned around. Of course they did, right? But that's the problem that you've got in Guyana. One of the problems is these guys are so insulated in the PPP. They're surrounded by butt kissers, by people who just yes men, who tell them what they want to hear, who are fearful. No one is telling them the honest truth. And so that delusion causes them to make the mistake to try to appeal some pennies. These guys are in charge of so much oil wealth, so much natural resources in the nation, and they're going to be so petty as to go over pennies. Nah, man, that's wrong. And they know that now. But at first, they didn't know, because they are caught up in their own little world of yes men telling them that everything they do is perfect. And it's not.
Thank you so much, Tom. Any closing remarks before we leave? For all those
man,
people?
hey, thanks for having me on, and thanks for everyone listening. I'm sorry to rain on some people's parade and bring reality to the situation. But with that said, as you can see, I'm actually very excited. Look, this is a crazy and wild world we're heading into. And the next 4 years are going to be out of control, man. Totally out of control. But in that craziness, okay, there is opportunity, especially for those who are the faithful, those of us who are the faithful, we need to group up together. We need to stay in the faith. We need to be the ones who bless this earth in times of peril. That's our job. We're to be a light to the world. And guess what? This world is going to be real dark in the next 4 years. But for those of us who are the light, we are going to shine brighter than we ever have before. So don't fret, don't fear, right? Stand up to this and be that light. That's what I see. And I think it's going to be great for all of us who are those who will be that light to this world over the next 4 years, man. My opinion on it.
Thank you so much, Tom. Hopefully, Guyana, they'll see that light as well, because right now they're blackout practically all over. Hundreds of millions of dollars spent so that the people of Guyana could get light, not just political light, but actual light. Two ships in Guyana to power the electricity company, hundreds of millions of dollars wasted. We just all wish the people would see that light too in Guyana, physical light, political light, you name it. It's just not happening under the corrupt PPP regime. Tom, thank you so much for your time. And let's together over the weekend, let's have a discussion on this, because $25 million, we can catch him unless the military there, some of his men in the Venezuelan army get a hold of him before us. $25 million, Tom. $25 million. Gosh.
Yeah, well,
all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Have a good night, everyone. Talk to you guys soon. Be back soon. Take care.
Tom Anderson there for you guys. $25 million. $25 million, guys. Maduro. I'll turn Maduro over. I'm no snitch, but I'll turn Maduro over for $25 million. I'll turn Jagdia. Well, that doesn't sound right. If you say you turn Jagdia over for $25 million, he might want to do it for less. But what we mean is hand them over, not turn them over. Hand them over. All right. Hey, guess what? Let's head back to that lady at Congress Place. She's originally from Melanie Damashana, and she has reacted. She's reacting to Bond has finally gone his way. And bye-bye, go your way, good riddance. But this lady had a different way of expressing herself. In fact, in a very joyful way. It was just time. And they're glad that it's happened. Just go. One vote, gone, go. Woman, do your thing.
Somebody call the popo.
You know, it's a funny thing that a lot of people are on U.S. law enforcement radars. Some of them know themselves, and all of them are going to just bond together because lots of them are on U.S. law enforcement radars. Lots of them. I'm not calling any names, but all those who are part of the extradition list, part on the wanted list, either for some sort of thing. Eventually, they're all going to bond together. Hey, my name is Mark Benshot. Guess what? I'm going to have a wonderful weekend. In fact, I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. I don't care what you guys say. I'm going to a wedding in Queens, and I'll video you guys. I'm going to dance up, and I'm going to have fun. In fact, I've already started. I got my video, and I'm just going, and I'm going to dance up and enjoy myself. You guys do the same too until, well, tomorrow, Wayne Caesar is on, and over to you, 7:00 p.m. that is. But I'll be back with you guys on Monday. Same place, same time. We have our church program as well on Sunday, and then early Monday morning again. We have it all going on right here on 107.1 FM. But for now, this is what I'm going to do. It's Friday night, heading into my wedding Saturday in Queens. I'm going to be there. This is what I'll be doing. Love you guys. Mwah.
Dollars and party, dollars and party, dollars and party, dollars and party. अपनों को प्यार से खाना खिला दो. Dollars and party, अपनों को प्यार से खाना खिला दो. Dollars and party, dollars and party, dollars and party, dollars and को प्यार से